Part 6, The Final Battle. The final battle takes place in 43 CE. The Chinese army, led by Ma Yuan, confronts the Lac Viet forces in a valley of the Red River Delta. The sisters lead their troops, fighting bravely against the overwhelming odds. The battle is fierce. The sisters' army fights with courage and determination, but they are outnumbered and outmatched. They are forced to retreat. The sisters are pursued by the Chinese army, but they refuse to surrender. They would rather die than be captured and humiliated. Part 7, The Death of the Sisters. The Trưng sisters die in the battle. Some say that they fell in combat, fighting to the last. Others say that they chose to drown themselves in a river rather than be captured by the enemy. The exact details are lost to history, but what is certain is that they died as they lived, bravely, fiercely, and with unwavering loyalty to their cause. Their bodies are never found. Some say that they were turned into flowers, and that they bloom in the Red River Delta to this day. Others say that they became spirits, watching over their people from the mountains. The legend of the Trưng sisters is a story of the supernatural as well as the historical. The rebellion is crushed, but the spirit of resistance lives on. The sisters become symbols of courage, determination, and defiance, an inspiration to the people who fight for their freedom. Part 8, The Legacy. The legacy of the Trưng sisters endures to this day. They are remembered as the greatest heroes of Vietnamese history, the first to rise up against Chinese rule, the first to fight for Vietnamese independence. Their story is told in the temples, in the poems, and in the songs of their people. They are honored as goddesses, as symbols of the strength and resilience of women. Every year, the people of Vietnam celebrate their memory, paying tribute to their courage and their sacrifice. Their story is a reminder that even the smallest and weakest can stand up to the greatest and strongest, and that the spirit of freedom can never be defeated. Part 9, The Lessons. What can we learn from the Trưng sisters? First, courage is not the absence of fear, it is the refusal to be defeated by it. The sisters were afraid, but they chose to fight anyway. Second, the spirit of freedom can never be extinguished. The Chinese ruled the Lac Viet for centuries, but the people never gave up hope. The sisters were a spark that ignited a flame of resistance that would burn for centuries. Third, loyalty is a virtue. The sisters were loyal to their people, to their land, and to each other. They fought for the cause of freedom, even unto death. Fourth, the past is not a foreign country. The Trưng sisters lived 2,000 years ago, but their struggles and triumphs are still relevant today. They fought for freedom, resisted oppression, and refused to be silenced. And finally, the truth has a way of surviving. The Trưng sisters' story has been told and retold for centuries, and it continues to inspire people today. Part 10, The Dream. Now, as you drift off to sleep, think about the Trưng sisters. Imagine them as young girls, learning to ride and fight. Imagine them as leaders, rallying their people to fight for freedom. Imagine them as warriors, riding into battle, their swords raised high. Imagine them as legends, honored by their people for centuries. Imagine their courage, their loyalty, their sacrifice. And let their story inspire you to be brave, to be bold, and to never give up. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. And may your dreams be filled with the sound of drums, the sight of banners, and the spirit of two sisters who shook an empire. Good night. Alright, let's sleep. Pull the blankets up to your chin. Fluff your pillow. Turn off your phone and let the darkness settle around you like a soft, warm cloak. Tonight, we're going to travel back in time to a world of misty mountains and emerald rice paddies, of ancient kingdoms and mighty empires, of two women who dared to challenge the greatest power on earth. We're going to the land of Vietnam, to a time when the dragons of the north ruled with an iron fist, and two sisters rose up to say, no more. Their names were Trắc and Trưng Nhi, the Trưng sisters. But before we get to the battles and the banners, the victories and the tragedies, we need to understand the world into which they were born, a world of the Red River Delta, of the Olak kingdom, of the Chinese Han Dynasty that had come to conquer and stayed to oppress Da. Part 1, The Land of the Dragons. The year is approximately 14 CE. The place is Jiaoqi, a province of the Han Dynasty of China, in what is now northern Vietnam. It is a land of breathtaking beauty, of limestone mountains rising from emerald waters, of rice paddies stretching to the horizon, of rivers that glisten in the sunlight. The people of this land call themselves the Lac Viet, and they have lived here for thousands of years. The Red River flows through the heart of the region, carrying silt from the mountains to the sea, enriching the soil and sustaining the rice that is the foundation of life. The people are farmers and fishermen, weavers and merchants. They live in villages of bamboo and thatch, surrounded by the rice paddies that feed them. They are a proud people, with their own language, their own customs, and their own beliefs. They worship the gods of the mountains and the rivers, the spirits of their ancestors. They tell stories of the Hung kings, the legendary rulers who founded their civilization. They have a saying, the dragon is the father of the Lac Viet, and the fairy is their mother. For centuries, the Lac Viet have been independent. They have fought off invaders, they have built their own kingdoms, and they have maintained their own way of life. But in 111 BCE, the Han Dynasty of China, the most powerful empire in the world, conquered their land. The Lac Viet became a province of China, ruled by Chinese governors, Chinese soldiers, and Chinese laws. The Han rule is harsh. The Chinese impose their language, their customs, and their taxes. They demand tribute, they suppress dissent, and they treat the Lac Viet as inferior. The people are forced to pay heavy taxes, to serve in the Chinese army, and to abandon their own traditions. The resentment grows, but the people are powerless. They have no weapons, no leaders, and no hope. And then, two sisters are born. Part 2, The Daughters of the Land. Trung Trak and Trung Ni are born into a noble family in the village of My Linh, in the Red River Delta. Their father is a Lac Viet lord, a man of wealth and influence who has managed to maintain his position under Chinese rule. Their mother is a woman of great strength and wisdom, who teaches her daughters the stories of their people, the songs of their ancestors, and the spirit of resistance. The sisters grow up in a world of contradictions. They are raised in the traditions of the Lac Viet, learning the language, the customs, and the beliefs of their people. They are also educated in the ways of the Chinese, learning to read and write in Chinese, to recite the Confucian classics, and to understand the law of the empire. But they are not just scholars, they are warriors. Their father teaches them to ride horses, to wield swords, and to shoot arrows. They are strong, brave, and fiercely independent. They are also beautiful and charismatic. The chronicles say that they are as beautiful as flowers and as strong as tigers. Trung Trak is the older sister. She is serious, determined, and deeply committed to the cause of her people. She marries a Lac Viet lord named T. Sach, a man of great courage who shares her vision of freedom. Together, they become the leaders of a growing resistance movement. Trung Ni is the younger sister. She is fierce, impulsive, and utterly fearless. She is also deeply loyal to her sister, and she will follow her to the ends of the earth. The Chinese authorities are aware of the growing discontent, but they underestimate the strength of the resistance. They think that the Lac Viet are weak, that they will never dare to challenge the might of the Han Dynasty. They are wrong. Part 3, The Rebellion. In 40 CE, the spark ignites. T. Sach, Trung Trak's husband, is assassinated by the Chinese governor, Tu Dinh, who suspects him of being a traitor. Trung Trak is devastated, but she is not broken. Her grief is transformed into a burning desire for justice. She calls upon her people to rise up, to throw off the yoke of Chinese oppression, and to fight for their freedom. Trung Trak and Trung Ni gather an army of Lac Viet warriors. They are joined by the nobles of the surrounding villages, by farmers and fishermen, by merchants and craftsmen. The call to arms spreads like wildfire across the Red River Delta. The people are tired of oppression, and they are ready to fight. The sisters lead their army against the Chinese garrison. They are not just leaders, they are warriors. They ride at the head of the army, their swords in their hands, their banners flying in the wind. They are fearless and skilled in combat, inspiring their troops by their courage. The Chinese governor, Tô Định, is taken by surprise. He has never faced an uprising like this. He tries to negotiate, but the sisters will not compromise. They demand the independence of their people, and they are willing to fight for it. The battle is fierce, but the sisters are victorious. The Chinese are driven out of the Red River Delta. Tô Định flees, and the people of Jiao Qi celebrate. They have won their freedom. Trắc is proclaimed the queen of a new kingdom, the kingdom of Lin Nam. She rules from Lin, and she is supported by her sister, Trưng Ni, who serves as her general. Part 4, The Reign of the Sisters. The reign of the Trưng sisters is a time of hope and renewal. They rebuild the kingdom, restoring the temples, the markets, and the farms that were destroyed in the war. They repeal the oppressive laws of the Chinese and restore the traditional customs of the Lac Viet. They also promote education, encouraging the study of the classics and the arts. They are not just rulers, they are symbols of resistance. Their story inspires other regions to rise up. In neighboring provinces, the people look to the sisters as a model of courage and determination. They are the hope of the oppressed, the champions of the free. But the sisters are not naive. They know that the Chinese will not accept their defeat. They prepare for the inevitable counterattack. They fortify the cities, they train the army, and they build alliances with other tribes. They also reach out to the kings of the surrounding kingdoms, hoping to build a coalition of resistance. Part 5, The Chinese Response. In the Han capital, the emperor hears of the rebellion. He is outraged. He has never faced such a humiliating defeat. He orders a massive army to be assembled to crush the rebellion. The army is led by Ma Yuan, one of the most experienced and ruthless generals in the Chinese Empire. He is a brilliant strategist and a fierce leader. He is determined to restore Chinese rule. Ma Yuan's army is vast. He has tens of thousands of soldiers, along with a powerful naval fleet. They march south, crossing the mountains and rivers, determined to crush the sisters and their army. The Trưng sisters are not afraid. They prepare for the battle, rallying their troops and fortifying their positions. They know that they are outnumbered, but they are determined to fight.